What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. I'm sure we all can relate to being hurt in some kind of way by the people we love. It's just all a part of life. Whether feeling crossed by family, betrayed by friends, or hurt by your significant other. That just comes with the territory when you are dealing with people. Some individuals will get to the point they don't care who you are, how much they love you, they will cut you off before they allow you to keep hurting them. Others tolerate people in their life that might not have their best interests at heart because of those titles I mentioned earlier: family, friends, significant other. Because a lot of times they would rather deal with the pain that comes with some of those people rather than being alone. At some point in life, whether you say you are healed and refuse to let anybody steal your peace, or you are still in a cycle of dealing with cruddy people, individuals get to their breaking point. You get tired of putting your heart out there just for it to be broken, or putting your loyalty on the line just for somebody to question it. These things could turn a person cold. Some of us understand, no matter what the situation is or who the individual is, people will be people, because none of us are perfect. And when you choose to love again or put yourself out there, it's important for your sanity for us to understand that will never change, no matter the individual or relationship. We should never jeopardize our life or freedom due to a broken heart. But some people take their pain of feeling crossed and it turns into hate. And that's when the situation can turn fatal. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to the Chicago suburb of Naperville, Illinois, to discuss a case of a confrontation about cheating that took a turn for the worse. Back in 2020, 34-year-old Rosa LeGrone and 27-year-old Darnell Mans were navigating life together in Illinois. The couple had a lot of love for each other, to the point they even got engaged. Rosa was a mother of 5 kids, ranging from the ages of 18, 14, 13, 10, and her youngest being 6. So she had her fair share of heartbreaks and relationships along the way. But with Darnell, it felt different. The two didn't share any kids together, but he was willing to step in, accept Rosa, and whatever else came with the situation, even being a stepfather. He moved into her place, and it seemed the two would have a bright future together. Darnell was described as a laid-back, humble, good dude who went to work, sometimes hung out, but was trying to settle down. But just like a lot of us men, when things get serious in our relationship, sometimes we second guess and ask ourselves, is this really the person I want to be with? Still young and not clear if he had any kids of his own, Darnell would slip up and start giving another woman his attention. At first it was harmless, nothing major, just a little flirting on social media, sending messages back and forth. But eventually it went to the two linking up and Darnell really feeling the side chick. Rosa started noticing a change in Darnell around about October 2020. He seemed to be falling back and his attention wasn't on Rosa at all. She confronted him about what she felt and felt he was doing behind her back. She decided to ask, was he cheating on her? Darnell brushed the situation off and told her to fall back with all that. As the next week would go by, her suspicions grew even more, and Darnell seemed like he was ready to make his exit, call things off, and leave the relationship. On November 6th, Rosa again confronted Darnell about cheating, claiming she had proof this time and knew exactly who his side chick was. The argument started earlier in that day, with her 4 youngest kids being home. As Darnell told her he was done and started packing his clothes to leave, she told the kids to go wait for her in the car. She then called a family member and told them, "He think I'm playing. Come get my kids. I'm about to go to jail for the rest of my life." Rosa then went to her room and grabbed a gun. As Darnell was trying to calm her down, telling her just let me go, she told him no and wanted him to call the woman he was dealing with. When he refused to, multiple shots went off, hitting Darnell in his spine and other parts of his body. Rosa then grabbed his phone and took it upon herself to go to Facebook and video call the young lady. Confused, thinking it was Darnell, until she saw Rosa's face. She couldn't believe what was going on. Rosa was holding a gun, asking her questions, while Darnell laid in a pool of blood. Still mad, Rosa then walked over and kicked the man twice and asked, "That's who it is? That's who you leaving me for?" in reference to the young lady who was on the phone. Since it was early 2:15 p.m., neighbors in the quiet community had called police, claiming they heard arguing and it sounded like a domestic dispute. When they responded to the home, they found Darnell in critical condition, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, but still clinging to life. He was rushed to a local hospital. Rosa was taken in and questioned. At first, she told police she was tired of Darnell cheating on her. She then confronted him. She claimed after arguing for a minute, she was scared and grabbed her gun, and it went off by mistake. But she didn't realize police had Darnell's phone and had spoken to the young lady, who she FaceTimed. She told police it was clear Rosa was the aggressor and that the lady was furious at Darnell. With that information, she was taken into custody, charged with attempted hit and assault. As days went by, Darnell was still in the hospital fighting for his life, but unfortunately on the third day, he would pass away due to a bullet lodged in his spine. This would leave Rosa with her charges being upgraded to first-degree murder. At her bail hearing, Rosa's attorney described her as a good mother who was ready to settle down. They claimed she didn't mean to hurt Darnell at all, and she loved the man very much, but was tired of being hurt and wanted the truth to come out. The judge spoke about the call and Rosa's anger and felt this wasn't a crime of passion, but a cold-blooded shooting. She was given a $1.5 million bond. As of now, Rosa is still incarcerated at the DuPage County Jail. Her case is still pending and hasn't made its way to trial yet, and she is innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Darnell. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. I know a lot of people will probably say, well, he shouldn't have got engaged to Rosa and shouldn't have been cheating. But sometimes in relationships, not saying it's right, you really start to get to know a person for real once you move in with them and deal with them on a daily basis. Darnell probably thought he was ready and knew what he was about to sign up for, but had a change of heart. Granted, he should have just left, but he probably knew better than anybody. Rosa was a little bit thrown off, and unfortunately, him not leaving the situation alone caused him his life. As far as her, I feel like she already knew she was about to take Darnell's life. Whatever past trauma she had dealing with men in relationships, I felt like it resurfaced, and she would rather take Darnell out this world than allow him to leave her for another woman. But now you leave your 5 kids out here alone. 4 of them probably traumatized because they was home at the time and heard the whole situation. All this over a man who was ready to leave. But I want to know y'all thoughts on this situation. Let me know in the comments. And remember, we got to succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, it was a crazy story. Rest in peace to Darnell. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all definitely let me know what y'all think in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Y'all already know it's all love, fam.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, let's take it to Washington, D.C., where a married man who tried to avoid his responsibilities of becoming a father after having an affair took a fatal turn. But before we get into this video, I'd like to say thank you to all of our supporters. We appreciate you and hope you stick around. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, you can find the information on the screen. And to support us for absolutely no cost, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony 2 times family. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, if you'd like to see more episodes of Hood Tales, please click the link to the playlist in the description box after this video to get caught up. And be sure to share this video with everyone you know. Stay tuned until the end to hear all the details. All right, let's get into it. Ebony Wright grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, where she graduated from Suitland High School in 2007. After graduating, Ebony attended North Carolina A&T University in 2008 and graduated with her Bachelor's of Arts degree in Sociology in 2012. Ebony worked hard in everything she did. 4 years after getting her bachelor's degree, Ebony went on to earn her MBA in Organizational Leadership. It's clear that Ebony was focused on utilizing her knowledge and skills to not only advance her career, but also help others. Ebony was adored and admired by many who got the opportunity to know her. Ebony ended up talking to an old friend from high school, a man named Keenan Turner. The two began a romantic relationship. However, Keenan was married with a daughter. He had a great job that required government security clearance. Whether Ebony knew Keenan was married or not isn't clear. Keenan's wife was not aware of the affair he was having with Ebony. Keenan's and Ebony's relationship resulted in her becoming pregnant with Keenan's child. When Ebony told Keenan she was pregnant, Keenan was not on board and wanted Ebony to end it and not have the baby. Ebony refused, and Keenan stopped talking to her and ended all communication. 32-year-old Ebony didn't let Keenan's unwillingness to be a present father deter her from becoming a mother. Ebony went on with her pregnancy and gave birth to a baby boy named Grayson. On January 31st, 2021, Ebony texted 35-year-old Keenan and said this: "It's almost been a month since your son has been born. Are you still gonna try to pretend that he doesn't exist?" Keenan never responded. Ebony did what she felt was necessary and filed for child support and custody. After Keenan received the child support paperwork, he reached out to Ebony and made arrangements to meet his son for the first time. This was out of the ordinary since the tension between Ebony and Keenan had only gotten more intense, and they weren't necessarily seeing eye to eye at this point. However, Keenan's attempt to meet his son was understandable, and maybe there was a possibility that he was ready to step up and be a father. On April 12, 2021, Keenan, who lived in Prince George's County, met Ebony at her apartment on Good Hope Court in Southeast DC. Ebony's mother, 48-year-old Wanda Wright, was at the apartment along with Ebony's younger sister, Destiny. This was the first time Ebony's family met Keenan. During the almost 1-hour visit, Ebony's sister, Destiny, recalled Keenan holding his son and even feeding him a bottle. Everything seemed to be going okay so far. Destiny decided to go into the back room and was relaxing in the rocking chair. Keenan excused himself to go to the bathroom. Destiny recalled seeing Keenan put gloves on and assumed that maybe he wanted to be the one to give his infant son a bath. She went back into the back room to get some baby clothes as her mother and sister were still in the front room. Ebony was holding baby Grayson. Suddenly, as she was walking towards the front room, she heard shots. She ran back into the room and hid in the closet. Keenan had fired a weapon at Ebony's head as she held her son. He then turned the weapon on Wanda, striking her in the back of the head. Keenan then went into the back room to find Destiny, where he fired at her, striking her in the face. Afterwards, Keenan took the child support and custody papers, lit them on fire, and attempted to burn the apartment down with the 3 women he badly injured and his infant son, who was still alive, inside. As he fled the scene, Keenan tried to remove a Ring camera, but was unsuccessful. Destiny, who was still in the back room, heard the cries of her 4-month-old nephew. She mustered up enough strength to get to him as he laid between his mother's legs. Destiny was able to rescue her nephew and get them out of the burning apartment. She was able to call 911. First responders and Metropolitan Police arrived at the scene at 7:33 p.m., where they found a badly injured Destiny with her nephew outside of the apartment. Before Destiny left in the ambulance, she was able to scribble Keenan's name on a piece of paper to let police know who did it, since her injuries left her unable to talk. Baby Grayson was also taken to the hospital to be treated. The blaze in the apartment was contained to the unit because of the sprinklers inside. Ebony and her mother Wanda were found inside of the apartment, suffering badly. One of the women was taken to the hospital, where they did not make it. The other one was pronounced gone at the scene. Destiny luckily survived her injuries. Baby Grayson also survived the terrifying ordeal. It would take investigators a few days to locate Keenan Turner. He was arrested at his father's house in Stafford, Virginia, on April 16, 2021. At Keenan's father's home, over 300 firearms were found. At least 6 were confiscated as evidence. The others weren't taken because Keenan's father was a registered owner. Keenan was faced with multiple charges, including 2 hit charges, attempted hit charges, firearm charges, and arson. Keenan went to trial in July 2024. Evidence presented in court included surveillance footage, the Ring camera footage that showed where Keenan tried to remove it, and it revealed a unique tattoo that was his daughter's name and birthday. Other evidence also included ballistic evidence and Destiny's testimony, among other witnesses. Keenan maintained his innocence, and his defense argued that it was a stranger who entered Ebony's apartment and committed the fatal crime. The prosecution laid out Keenan's motive in the slayings as a way to eliminate his responsibility of being a father to the child he and Ebony shared, especially since he was having an affair. After the jury deliberated, Keenan Turner was found guilty of slaying Ebony and her mother Wanda, among the other charges against him. Prosecutors recommended that Keenan receive the maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole. Keenan showed little to no remorse. He was sentenced on October 18, 2024, to 69.5 years in prison. He apologized to the family in court. Ebony's sister Destiny is now 22 years old and a student at North Carolina A&T University, where she is studying family services and maintains a 3.5 GPA. It was important for Destiny to return to college to finish her studies to make her mother Wanda and sister Ebony proud. Baby Grayson is now 3 years old and is nonverbal and autistic, but doing well. Family and friends have stepped up and have been taking care of Grayson and Destiny as she pursues her education. After graduating and getting into her career field, Destiny hopes to be the one to continue to raise and care for her nephew. A GoFundMe that has raised almost $40,000 was created to help take care of Grayson and help Destiny continue her education. If you feel inclined to donate to help with expenses for this family in need, the link to their GoFundMe will be in the description box below. I send Destiny, Grayson, and family my well wishes. May Ebony and Wanda continue to rest in peace. My deepest condolences to the family. This was a horrifically devastating tragedy. Thankfully, they received some justice, and now their family can begin to pick up the pieces to their lives and live in honor of Ebony and Wanda. Fam, what are your thoughts on this tragic story? Let's keep the discussion going and let me know in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times. Until next time.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. When you are getting money or having motion, as people like to say nowadays, you definitely have to move a certain kind of way. Most people that are getting to a bag like to show off the fruits of their labor. Whether it's driving a nice car, having jewelry on, or big stacks of money on them at all times. Social media is also a big stage for people to show their success on and go on platforms just to flex. For most, they like the attention that comes with being that guy or that girl. And for men that's out here shining, most of the time they attract women. Whether it's girls that want to be around you because of what you have to offer them, or females that really want to be your girl and in a real relationship. Most of us know money equals power, even when it comes to the opposite sex. But you have to be extra careful when you are in the mix, on the scene, and showing off like that you don't attract the wrong kind of attention. The same way you have people out here eating, you also have wolves that's out here starving, looking for an easy come up. And when you are that person that's able to attract money and attention, unfortunately, the hate comes with it. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to Chicago, Illinois, to discuss the case of a club promoter who was set up by his girlfriend for her husband. All the way back in 2013, 33-year-old John Fuzzy Atkins was making noise all on the Chicago club scene. By being a promoter, Fuzzy was making money, bringing some of the biggest stars into the city and networking. But he had to grind his way up to the top. Let's rewind back to his younger days. Fuzzy always showed his competitive nature, let it be known he had talent, and took everything he did serious. His name started ringing bells when he became a part of a big group that did a style of dancing infamous in Chicago called footwork. After gaining attention in the city, Fuzzy took the clout and started networking, which eventually landed him a gig as a radio host on Power 92. Now on the airwaves, his personality really shined. He took his passion for making people smile off the radio into the poppin' nightlife in Chicago. And by 2013, Fuzzy was the man. He was hosting events all around the city, getting a percentage of the door money and the bar. And depending on what celebrity was in the city that time, he could easily make up to $10,000 or $15,000 a night. Name buzzing, jewelry, always showing money on social media. It's not no secret that his line of work and swag also caught the attention of the woman who showed up to the events. Stated to be a ladies' man, Fuzzy had one daughter, but during the event, he bumped into her ex-girlfriend and ended up by that time having a son as well, for a total of 2 kids. This situation led to a little bit of baby mama drama, since the 2 women didn't really see eye to eye, but they both knew what type of dude they was dealing with, and Fuzzy wasn't nowhere ready to settle down yet. With his fame and clout through the city also came hate. He had been robbed a few times, leaving clubs in the city for jewelry and money, even being finessed by a business partner and fellow club promoter, who after one of their big nights ran off with all the money. But despite all that, navigating a dangerous city like Chicago, Fuzzy was surprisingly loved more than he was hated. On August 30th, 2013, it was a Friday night, when a man called his mother to let her know he was going to the infamous club, Adriana's, to host the event. He apologized to her about a recent argument they had just had and told her he would see her soon, but that would be the last time she would talk to her son. The following morning, CPD got a call of a man laying in the gangway in the far south side of the city in Morgan Park. When they responded to the scene, they found the man suffering from a single gunshot wound to the back of the head, and he was already pronounced gone on the scene, and unfortunately later identified as Fuzzy. As his family received the news, they were confused. He had no dealings on that side of town and lived over 30 miles away. His car was missing, wallet, cell phone, and keys. Some people thought the man's flashy ways had finally caught up with him, as his jewelry was also missing, indicating a robbery. But as days went on, due to his lifestyle, police were stuck. They thought it could possibly be one of his baby mothers, coming from the angle of a woman's scorn, or even the other club promoter who wanted to get Fuzzy out the way for good. But when his cell phone records came back, police would get their first lead. His last call was to a 29-year-old woman named LaDonna Carey at around 3 a.m. Police went to talk to LaDonna, the mother of 4. She claimed she knew Fuzzy from the club, and she even considered the man her boyfriend, as the two would often creep around, but she was also married. But she claimed to have no knowledge of what happened to him that night. Another name popped up as well, LaDonna's friend, another young lady named Adriana. The 25-year-old woman was also in communication with Fuzzy, and she too was married as well. But they both claimed they only spoke to the man about the club event he was hosting that night. As days went by, the city was hurt, and Fuzzy's family wanted answers, as it seemed like police was stuck. The family took to social media, asking for any information and asking people to come forward, but his brother felt police was taking too long and decided he would be his own detective in his brother's case. He went back to the same neighborhood where his brother's body was found at and started knocking on doors, asking questions. One person claimed they heard a fatal gunshot go off about 3:45 a.m. while they was in a kitchen making coffee. Another person went as far as to giving a name, a man named Jeremiah Taylor. The person claimed Jeremiah wasn't a shooter though, but somehow his name was circulating all in the case. And ironically, Jeremiah had a strong connection, as Adriana was his wife. As Fuzzy's brother did his homework, he went on social media and called Jeremiah himself. The man stated he was in Gary, Indiana at the time of the shooting, and he had nothing to do with it. Fuzzy's brother delivered his findings to CPD. They told him to pump his brakes. They felt like he was interfering with their case. Almost a year would go by. It seemed the case would go cold, when out of nowhere, police finally got their first lead from an unlikely source, an inmate at the Cook County Jail. The man claimed he got a visit from his homegirl LaDonna, and she told him her and her homegirl had set Fuzzy up. He stated she told him they went to the club, Adriana's, looking for a lick, and she felt like her side dude Fuzzy would be the perfect target. She claimed she called him and promised if he pulled up, they could get it in. When he pulled up to the location, it was her and Adriana waiting outside in the gangway. When Fuzzy got out the car though, both of the women ran away, as their husbands ambushed the man, robbed him, and one of them shot him in the back of the head. Police needed to verify the man's claims, so they looked at the club video from that night, and it did in fact show both young ladies at the event. So they then asked the inmate to ask LaDonna to visit him again. This time, he would wear a wire. He asked her to repeat the story, and she did. With that, police went to talk to her and Adriana. They both confessed to setting Fuzzy up, but not knowing he would get shot. With that, both women was taken into custody. At first, charged with robbery and murder. They were both held on a $500,000 bail, but their claims that their husbands was the trigger man wouldn't go far at all, as police had no evidence. Almost 6 years would pass by when enough evidence was finally found to arrest LaDonna's husband, Jabari Hicks, and Audriana's husband, Jeremiah. As police got information, Fuzzy's car was driven to Gary, Indiana, and burnt up after the hit, along with all his other belongings. But since the incident, Jeremiah himself had passed away, and Jabari was now a mechanic living with his girlfriend in Indiana. He never admitted to being involved in the shooting though, but police had information him and Fuzzy had words prior about Fuzzy sleeping with LaDonna. He told the man to leave his wife alone, but they kept creeping around. So police felt Jabari told his wife to lure Fuzzy to a location, telling her it was just going to be a robbery. But instead, he decided to shoot Fuzzy and get him out the way for good. It's not clear if Fuzzy was also in a sexual relationship with Audriana, or if her and her husband was just looking for a quick come up. Surprisingly, both women charges were dropped to just robbery for their roles in the situation, and they both only received 15 years apiece in prison. Jabari's case is still pending, and as of now, I couldn't find any information. He is innocent until proven otherwise. Fuzzy's family felt like the only reason police kept pursuing the case and it didn't go cold was because of a DNA test for his second baby mother. Her and Fuzzy's mother decided to go on Judge Mathis to do that so his son could get survivor's benefits. The family felt like the nationwide coverage made CPD put another light on the case, and pressure poured in. Rest in peace to Fuzzy. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. As I stated earlier, being that guy comes with a lot of love, but unfortunately, it only takes a little bit of hate for somebody to want to get you out the way. And smashing another man's wife will make you a target every time. But I'm curious on how y'all feel about this situation. So I'm going to leave this one open for discussion. Y'all leave it in the comments. And remember, we got to succeed not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace to Fuzzy. I definitely send my prayers to his family. But like I said, I want to know what y'all think about the situation. Y'all leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.
It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, I'll be taking it to Norfolk, Virginia, to discuss the 2020 case of 17-year-old Asia Cowell, who disappeared after 3 people plotted to keep her from testifying against a man she accused of violating her. But before we get into this video, I'd like to say thank you to all of our supporters. We appreciate you and hope you stick around. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, you can find the information on the screen. And to support us for absolutely no cost, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony 2 times family. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, if you'd like to see more episodes of Hood Tales, please click the link to the playlist in the description box after this video to get caught up. And be sure to share this video with everyone you know. Stay tuned until the end to hear all the details. All right, let's get into it. Asia Lionetta Cowell was born May 28, 2003 in Norfolk, Virginia, to loving parents. Asia grew up surrounded by a supportive family and was an adored big sister to her younger brother and sister. Asia's aunt would end up becoming her legal guardian. Their bond was close, and her aunt considered Asia as her little best friend. Asia was generous, funny, sweet, and down to earth. Her smile and personality was so inviting. She loved goofing off and laughing. Asia had the ability to change the atmosphere in a room. Anyone that had the chance of knowing Asia and becoming her friend had a true friend indeed. Asia's light shined bright in every way. Asia was also creative and had a talent for doing hair and a knack for fashion. In 2020, Asia became a high school senior at Granby High School in Norfolk. She was due to graduate in June 2021. Asia was also an aspiring entrepreneur. She was an accomplished hairstylist and fashion designer. She took every opportunity to develop her skills. So in September of 2020, when Asia was contacted on Instagram by a woman named Crystal Alberton to set up a hair appointment, she took the opportunity to build her portfolio. Asia was scheduled to meet the woman at her apartment in Norfolk, located in a neighborhood right off Granby Street and Little Creek Road on September 7, 2020. The service the woman requested was a braid style for her niece. When Monday, September 7th rolled around, Asia's aunt dropped her off at the woman's residence on the 7400 block of West Kenmore Drive at 12:45 p.m. Asia was supposed to call her aunt to pick her up once she was finished with her client. As the day went by, Asia's aunt still hadn't heard from her to come pick her up. The day came to an end as Asia was nowhere to be found. Asia's aunt had no idea that after dropping Asia off, that it would be the last time she saw her. Asia's family immediately reported her missing to Norfolk police. The day Asia went missing was the Labor Day holiday. The search for Asia began. When police initially spoke with Crystal Alberton, she told police that she was dissatisfied with Asia's service, but despite that, she paid Asia full price and Asia left her apartment around 2 p.m. on foot. For 2 weeks, Asia's family, friends, and law enforcement continued their search for the 17-year-old. They pleaded for the public's help in finding her. The circumstances around her disappearance were suspicious. Why would Asia leave on foot from Crystal's apartment instead of calling her aunt to pick her up as planned? Then, on September 23, 2020, at 11:15 a.m., Newport News police officers responded to a call in reference to a person no longer alive located near the wood line behind a strip club in the 16,000 block of Warwick Boulevard. The person who found a body led police to the location, about a 2-minute walk from where officers parked their patrol cars. Upon arrival, officers located a female in the stages of decomposition. Medics were called to the scene. The female was positively identified as 17-year-old Asia Cowell from Norfolk. Her passing was later ruled a homicide. Asia's family was devastated by the news. This was not the outcome they had hoped for. Asia's family and friends held a candlelight vigil in her memory at her high school the following day. It was an emotional turnout. All Asia's family wanted now was justice for Asia. Months would go by as Norfolk Police, Newport News Police, and the FBI investigate Asia's slaying. Then, on December 2nd, 2020, at approximately 9:39 a.m., 30-year-old Crystal Alberton was arrested at the Newport News Police Headquarters. She was charged with 1 count each of first-degree hit, abduction by force, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, criminal solicitation, and conspiracy to commit a felony. Officers also arrested 18-year-old Deja Feaster in connection with the incident. She was 17 at the time of when the incident occurred. She was charged with 1 count each of first-degree hit, abduction by force, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and conspiracy to commit a felony. The day after Crystal Alberton was arrested, her husband, Devin Alberton, was also arrested at the Newport News Police Headquarters. He was charged with 1 count of first-degree hit and 1 count of conspiracy to commit a felony. With the arrest, Asia's family was somewhat relieved to be one step closer to justice for Asia. However, now there were so many unanswered questions about what happened to Asia. Taking it back to May 2020, Asia pressed charges on 20-year-old Deshaun Coram, accusing him of violating her in the worst way. Deshaun was accused of allegedly attacking her, putting his hands around her neck, throwing her to the ground, and allegedly doing awful things. Deshaun and Asia dated at one point. The charges against him were pretty serious, and the case was pending in court. Asia was set to testify against him. A pretrial hearing was set for September 29, 2020. According to court documents, Deja Feaster was Deshaun's sister, and she conspired with Crystal Alberton, who is her godmother, to get rid of Asia to keep her from testifying. Crystal used Instagram to set up the hair appointment with Asia in order to lure her to her apartment. During that hair appointment, Crystal, her husband Devin, and Deja carried out the plan. Asia was tied to a bar stool, blindfolded, then forced into a plastic bin, then thrown into the back of an SUV, and driven 30 miles across the water to the woods in the Fort Eustis area of Newport News. Crystal's husband Devin stayed behind. While in the SUV, Deja held a firearm pointed at Asia in an attempt to keep her compliant. Once all three arrived in the wooded area, they ordered Asia to walk deeper into the woods as Deja held the firearm to Asia. They eventually told Asia to stop. Asia begged them not to take her life. She promised she wouldn't testify in the trial. Crystal then told Deja to fire the weapon at Asia, but Deja hesitated. Crystal told her to hurry up, but Deja couldn't do it. After Crystal kept trying to convince Deja to pull the trigger, Crystal took the weapon and told Asia to turn around and pull the trigger herself. Deja then asked Crystal if Asia had passed away. According to Deja, Crystal answered, "Don't know, don't care." The two women left Asia in the woods and drove back to Norfolk. Once they got back, Devin got rid of Asia's belongings, including her cell phone and the hit weapon. Right after that, Devin went on to prepare for a cookout as if nothing ever happened. When the pretrial court date came on September 29, 2020, the case against Deshaun Coram was dropped since Asia had passed away. After an intensive investigation, police were able to confirm that Asia's ex-boyfriend Deshaun Coram had nothing to do with the plot or her slaying. He was cleared of all wrongdoing. Years would go by before Asia's family got any sort of closure and steps closer to justice. In March 2024, Crystal Alberton pleaded guilty. On August 16, 2024, she was sentenced to life in prison plus 3 years to serve consecutively. Crystal's husband, Devin Alberton, also pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 50 years with 11 years suspended. In addition to the prison time, Devin was sentenced to 25 years of uniform good behavior and 5 years of supervised probation. Both Crystal and Devin apologized in court and said they were remorseful and wished that the incident never happened. However, Asia's family wasn't convinced, but accepted that Asia received justice. Deja Feaster will be in court for a plea on October 30th, 2024. She is innocent until proven guilty. May Asia Cowell continue to rest in peace. My deepest condolences to her family and loved ones. This is such an incredibly sad story. Asia's life mattered, and she didn't deserve to lose her life so senselessly. I can't imagine what Asia must have felt in that moment. She already had gone through a tragic situation, having to face the man she accused of hurting her. She was going to have to be brave to testify in court and relive the events of that day in May 2020, not knowing that before she could do that, she would end up losing her life. The fact that these three people took it upon themselves to eliminate Asia in an effort to keep her from testifying is diabolical and evil. The person they were trying to protect is still free, while they all end up behind bars. What was going through their minds when they decided to carry out this heinous plot? Asia was only 17, with still so much life to live. Asia's family started a GoFundMe to keep her legacy alive. The funds will go to Asia's younger brother and sister to help them with future endeavors and education costs. I'll leave the link to the GoFundMe down below if you feel inclined to donate. Fam, what are your thoughts on this tragic story? Let me know in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times. Until next time.